Hi everyone. All right, so this is lesson 21, session 4 on page 457, and it is the last session from this lesson. So adding and subtracting mixed numbers, this is the last day of it. So I feel like this has been a pretty fast lesson for such a difficult skill. So I thought we had a couple more days of this, but I guess we're moving on quickly. So after this, we're still adding and subtracting fractions, so we'll still get more practice with it, but it's just in a different way. So using some different strategies or methods for showing your work. So we'll still be adding and subtracting fractions, but it'll just look a little different. We're going to use some line plots in the next lesson. So we still have to finish this session first, and this is the refine day, so the last day of every lesson. It's like the 9 problems that you should be able to do on your own at this point, but I know this is a difficult skill, especially the subtracting if you have to do some like regrouping and stuff, and even adding if you have to regroup fractions is difficult. So if you are not able to do these by yourself at this point, totally understandable. Very difficult stuff. So if you want to go through and try to do some of the problems on your own, if you get stuck, no problem. We'll do it together. But it's always good to try and see what you can do on your own without my help. So let's get started. The first problem we have to do is the example because they didn't solve it yet for us. So it says a soccer team drinks 5 2/3 liters of water during a game. Their opponents drink 4 2/3 liters of water. How much water do both teams drink? So together, how much water is that? And they did it with a picture. So looks like this is one team. I didn't know how it was set up, if it was like horizontal or vertical. And this is the other team. Okay, so this is 5 2/3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 full liters of water and 2/3 of another liter. And the other team drinks 4 2/3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and here's 2/3 of the next liter. So then they showed it with a picture, but I think I'm going to use an equation to figure out my answer because I can count the whole number of liters, but I don't know exactly what this leftover bit is, like exactly how much that is. It's kind of hard to tell, right? So over here on the side, my margin, I think I'm gonna solve it over here. So 5 2/3 plus 4 2/3. Okay, so I know I do my whole numbers first. So 5 plus 4 is 9, fraction bar. And then my denominator, 3, stays the same. But I have to add my numerators. So 2 plus 2 equals 4. But I can't say that's my answer just yet because there's a whole number hiding in there. My numerator is greater than my denominator, which means there's one whole in there. And I have to give that to the 9. So that's going to become 10 with 1 left over. If I take away 3/3 and give it to the 9, that becomes 10, and what's left is 1/3 if I took away 3/3, right? Okay, so back to my solution line. The teams drink 10 1/3 liters. Okay. There's the equation again if you need to pause it to write that down. Okay. Star for the example. And let's get started on our problems. My lamp creates a shadow if my book is folded over like that. Okay. Number 1, Kelly buys 4 7/8 pounds of apples and 2 3/8 pounds of oranges. How many pounds of fruit does she buy all together? Show your work. It says all together means I'm adding these two. 4 7/8 plus 2 3/8 equals. Okay, there's my equation. If you wanted to do like a number line, or if you used a model, pictures, whatever else to show your work, that's great too. but I'm gonna use an equation. I'm gonna add my whole numbers first. So 4 plus 2 is 6. My denominators stay the same, 8. And I add my numerators. 7 plus 3 equals 10. Whole number hiding in there. Okay, so I have to take away 8/8 and give it to the 6. Give it to the whole numbers. So that becomes 7. And if I take one whole out of here, I'm left with, I do that subtraction, 2/8. Okay, because 10/8 minus 8/8 is 2/8. So she buys 7 2/8 pounds of fruit. Star for showing your work, star for your answer in a sentence. 3 stars so far. Okay, pause there if you need to catch up because I'm turning the page. Number 2. There we go. Carrie reads a total of 20 2/4 pages in her science and social studies books combined. She reads 12 3/4 pages in her science book. How many pages does she read in her social studies book? Show your work. So the total of both together is 20 2/4. Just her science book, though, just part of it, is 12 3/4. So what's the other part that was the social studies pages? Okay, so I'm going to subtract. I need to take my total number of pages, 20 2/4, and subtract the science pages, 12 3/4, and that'll give me what's left over, the social studies pages. Okay, so again, I do my whole numbers first. Okay, so 20 minus 12, oh, I can do that, but I see I'm going to have a problem here with my numerators. So first I need to regroup and change this one before I start with my whole numbers, because if I get to that step and I'm subtracting my numerators, I can't do 2 minus 3, right? That's negative. Can't do that. So I need to change this. Okay, so I'm going to take away one whole from this and give it to my fraction part. So that's going to become 19. And one whole is 4/4 if my denominator is 4, right? So I take away one whole, I take away 4/4, and I'm going to give it to this fraction part. So 4/4 plus 2/4 is 6/4. So 20 2/4 is the same thing as 19 6/4. I just changed it around a little bit so that I can do my equation. And then I can subtract. Okay, so get that out of there. Now I can do my equation. 19 minus 12 is 7. So there's my whole numbers. My denominator stays the same. It's going to be 4. And I subtract my numerators. 6 minus 3 equals 3. Okay, so she read 7 3/4 pages in her social studies book. Abbreviated social studies, no space. Okay, final answer, star. Answer in a sentence, star. Okay, that was a tricky one because I had to regroup and change that fraction, that mixed number, to this one. Okay, number 3. All right, this one is a bit confusing. It says, which of the following shows a correct way to find 15 4/5 minus 9 3/5? So these are just like the steps. What steps would you take to solve that? So only one of these answers is correct. Okay, so first I think I'm just going to go through and solve it the way I would solve it, right? So first I would do 15 minus 9, so I would subtract the whole numbers first. Okay, well there's step 1, right? Subtract the whole numbers. So A says subtract the whole numbers. Okay, so that one's correct so far. I'm not going to select it because there's more steps after that. So far it's fine. Let's look at B. Add the whole numbers. No, I'm not adding 15 plus 9, right? I need to subtract, so that's wrong. C says subtract the whole numbers. That's what I want to do, but I don't know about the rest of it, so I'm not going to pick it yet. And this one says write the mixed numbers as fractions greater than 1. You could do that, but then we're not going to add them. So no, we're subtracting. So I can already take out B and D. I just have A and C left. So first I would subtract the whole numbers. So 15 minus 9 is 6. So that's what I would do first. And then I would subtract the fractions, right? 4/5 minus 3/5. Sorry, I got stuck in my brain. 5 is my denominator, 4 minus 3 is 1. Okay, so I subtracted the fraction part. This one says, then subtract the fractions. Great, did that. But C also says, then subtract the fractions. Okay, so far A and C still look great. This one, though, says subtract the differences. So that would be this and this. Those are my differences when I subtracted. 6 was my answer and 1/5 was my answer. Am I going to subtract? Am I going to do 6 minus 1/5 equals my answer? Or am I going to add the differences? Am I going to do 6 plus 1/5 equals my answer? I'm going to add the differences. So it is C. I'm not subtracting the differences. That would be 6 minus 1/5. That's not what I want to do. I want to do 6 plus 1/5 equals 6 and 1/5. Okay, so not A. It is C. Okay, Mirella chose A as the correct answer. Did she do each step correctly? Explain. So she did the first 2 steps correctly, but then she did the last step wrong. She's not supposed to subtract the differences, you're supposed to add the differences. So she did the first and second step correctly, but should have added the differences. Okay, so if you explained how Mirella got A or what she did wrong, give yourself another star. Okay, pause if you need to catch up. Number 4. Oh, they're talking about pizza. I love pizza. I'm hungry. Okay. Number 4. Ella orders 16 pizzas for a party. That's a lot of pizza. Holy cow. There are 3 5/8 pizzas left after the party. How many pizzas are eaten? So she started with 16. At the end of the party, end of the night, she's got 3 5/8 left. So how many got eaten between here and here? So we need to subtract. 16 minus 3 5/8. Okay, but how do I do that? There's no fraction part here. I could do my whole numbers, but then what do I do about the fraction, right? So I'm going to change this 16 into 15 8/8, because my denominator is 8. 8/8 is 1. So 15 plus 8/8, that's 1. So 15 plus 1 is 16. So I'm changing that 16 into that 15 8/8. And then I can subtract to the 3 5/8. Otherwise, I don't know what I would, what do you subtract the 5/8 from? Okay, so whole numbers, 15 minus 3 is 12. Denominator stays the same, it's going to be 8. And 8 minus 5 in my numerators is 3. So my answer is A. 12 3/8 pizzas. 12 pizzas, that's a lot. Star if you said A. I'm going to say star for showing your work, because there's no way you could have figured that out without showing your work, right? Okay, number 5. Sean works in his yard for 3 5/6 hours on Saturday. He works another 4 1/6 hours in his yard on Sunday. How many hours does he work in the yard in all? So total, Saturday plus Sunday's hours. So I'm going to do 3 5/6 plus 4 1/6. Trigger. Can you stop licking your paws? It's very distracting. Sorry. My dogs are just the worst teachers. Well, now he's sad and pouting because I said he was a bad teacher. Oh well, I'll give him a bone later. Okay, anyway, sorry. Back to math. I'm adding these fractions. I do my whole numbers first. 3 plus 4 equals 7. My denominator stays the same. It's going to be 6. And my numerator, 5 plus 6 equals, sorry, whoa, I said the answer. 5 plus 1 equals 6. Okay, but I know that 6/6 equals 1. So that's actually 8, because 7 plus 1 equals 8. So my answer is D. Give yourself a star if you said D, and a star for showing your work. And last one on this page, number 6. This one is also a food question. Gosh, okay, so there are 4 friends and they are sharing 3 full orders of chicken wings. So they have like 3 different baskets of chicken wings, but there are 4 friends. So each friend can't get their own basket. They have to split some of it, okay? So Alex eats 5/8 of an order. Chase eats 7/8 of an order. And Ella eats 6/8 of an order. There's a 4th friend though, right? So there's only 3. This other friend, how much do they get? Okay, so I'm gonna add up the total of what all those friends got and then subtract that from 3 orders to figure out what the last friend gets, okay? So, 3 whole orders equals, my denominator has to be 8, because that's what the denominator is here. 3 times 8 equals 24. So 24/8 is 3 orders of chicken wings. Now I'm going to add everything they ate. So Alex was 5/8, Chase was 7/8, and Ella was 6/8 of an order. If I add that all up, this plus this plus this, my denominator stays the same. 5 plus 7 is 12, plus 6 is 18. So the 3 friends together ate 18/8 of the 3 orders. So if I take the total chicken wings they had, 24/8, that's the 3 full orders, and subtract what the 3 friends ate of that amount, I'll be left with whatever the 4th friend ate. Okay? So my denominator stays the same. 24 minus 18 is 6. Okay, so the last friend, the 4th friend, ate 6/8 of an order. The 4th friend ate 6/8 of an order. Okay. Star for showing your work, star for your answer in a sentence. Now I want pizza and chicken wings. Oh. All right, one more page. Number 7. Okay, Marnell, I've never heard that name. Marnell uses 4 2/3 cups of cereal and 3 1/3 cups of marshmallows to make cereal bars. How many more cups of cereal does Marnell use than marshmallows? Man, and now Rice Krispie treats? Honestly, okay. So this is how much cereal he uses. This is how many cups of marshmallows he uses. How much bigger is this than that? So we need to subtract them. 4 2/3 minus 3 1/3. And good news, this is one where we don't need to regroup. Yay! Because my numerator is 2 minus 1, I can do that. I don't need to regroup them. But first I need to do whole numbers. 4 minus 3 is 1. Denominator stays the same, it's going to be 3. And numerators, 2 minus 1 equals 1. That's it. So it was how many more cups of cereal? So it's 1 1/3 cup more cereal than marshmallows. He uses 1 1/3 cups more marshmallows. Your little animated plate is in the way. Okay, star for showing your work, star for your answer in a sentence. I liked that one. That one was easy. Number 8, Kieran runs the first part of a relay in 4 4/6 minutes. David runs the next part in 3 5/6 minutes. How long do they take to run both parts of the relay? So we're adding the first guy's part to the second guy's part. So 4 4/6 plus 3 5/6. Relay races are super cool. You know the little metal batons they pass? That's what I did in track in high school. Relays, they're fun. Part of a team. Okay. Oh, sorry, hope the problem wasn't cut off a little. So anyway, whole numbers first. 4 plus 3 equals 7. My denominator stays 6. And my numerators, 4 plus 5 equals 9. But there's a whole number hiding in there. So I need to take out that one whole, which is 6, 6, and give it to the whole numbers. So that becomes 8. And if I do 9, 6 minus 6, 6, I'm left with 3, 6. Okay, so it takes them 8 3/6 minutes. Star for your work, star for your answer in a sentence. And math journal, that's for you to do. Show 2 ways to add 2 3/8 plus 3 4/8. So this is a nice one because usually those math journal parts you have to write a big long explanation. This one you just have to show 2 different ways to add that. So maybe one way could be an equation and another way could be a model. Maybe you could just draw a picture or do a number line, okay? So star for each way, but that one's for you to do and for me to check later once you turn this lesson in. Okay, so hopefully you guys are feeling okay about adding and subtracting fractions. We will be practicing more with that. It's gonna look a little differently. But you'll remember a bit of it from 3rd grade too. So, all right, see you in the next video. Bye guys.